So this is the building Messberg number 1 in Hamburg. This is the building where the Cyclone B was marketed, and this is a commemoration plate remembering what happened, that Cyclone B was used in the main concentration camps, and that the company marketing was in this building. This building at that time was called Ballin House. That's the house named after Mr. Ballin, the CEO of a big shipping company and a Jew. So that's the history of this very building. Thank you. So the question is, do you want to have the cane unpacked?
Yes.
Okay. So this is, of course, 6 candles for the 6 million.
So can you return about the story? What you
About the whole building, or just
the building and about the connection with that?
Okay. We are here in Hamburg in the so-called Kantorhaus Messberg. And Kantorhaus Messberg is an office building, was built in the 1920s, so it's about nearly 100 years old. And it was built by a Jewish architect, and it was named after Ballin. Ballin was the CEO, the president of one of the big shipping companies in Hamburg that was big business in Aliyah to the States, so to immigration from Jews and non-Jews to America. So some 5-6 million people immigrated via the port of Hamburg before the First World War and directly after. And he was the one actually who had to take care after cholera started in Hamburg that the ships would be cholera-free. And so to provide this certificate, it was necessary to have all immigrants leave the trains at the border to Germany and to get a shower and being disinfectionated by steam with the clothes. And so the same in Berlin and then the same in Hamburg. And then they were brought outside the city of Hamburg into a very good, high standard reception center or center for immigrants. And then there was a medical check, then they got a stamp and could go on the ships, and America would accept it. And of course, if you change a little bit the vocabulary, to have a camp outside the city, ghetto, you have showers, disinfectionating, and you have a medical check, selection, then you see the parallel. And the parallels here in the city of Hamburg between immigration and the Shoah are even more striking, because in this whole process of disinfectionating, you have to disinfectionate ships. And in 1941, actually, when the final solution was being discussed, and when suddenly hundreds of thousands, in total more than 1.5 million Jews in the East were shot by the German army and Einsatzgruppen and so on, it became clear that it was impossible to continue like this. Quite a few Germans were traumatized. There was some sort of rebellion sometimes. And so here someone came up with this idea: we could use the gas that we used for disinfectionating ships at that time to make them cholera-free and so on. We could use this to kill the Jewish people. And this is, of course, here a building for white-collar workers, so they write invoices and loading certificates and so on. And here the idea came up to take the gas out, the smell out of the gas.
You mean here?
Here in this building, there was a laboratory, and the owner of this company, Mr. Tesch and Staveno, they had the idea to take the smell out of the gas, so that when Jewish people were gassed, they wouldn't smell that it was a gas, because Cyclone B in itself is without smell. So this brutal, this murderous idea came from this very building. And here we got to know all this. Actually, the British sentenced both owners later to death, and they were hanged already in 1947. And we, as an emergency fund helping Jewish people, mainly from the former Soviet Union, to make Aliyah to Israel, we got to know all this story in the mid-90s. And so we prayed and we applied to the German bank who owned this building, and they gave us these rather big rooms where the Jewish Agency is working and where there are education programs. They gave us this without any rent. So we have this now for 20 years without paying rent.
Who is we?
We is Ebenezer Emergency Fund Germany, ebenezer Hilfsfonds Deutschland, who originally started in 1993 with the shipping line from Odessa to Haifa for immigration. And then when we came with this, we are members of the Friends of Yad Vashem in Germany. We asked the museum in Majdanek if we could get an original can so that we can show to students and pupils this is an original can. So they gave us this can. We wrapped it actually in the Israeli prayer shawl or the Israeli flag. And to commemorate that not only Jews were killed with gas, but gypsies and others, there's another, just a white cover. And this is the original, one of the original cans. And there you find this address here, Hamburg, Messberghof. A little bit better, you see it here on this enlarged copy of this etiquette here. And this can, as you can see, originally militarily wise open, was probably responsible for the death of a few hundred Jewish people. That depended on temperature, but that's a technical aspect. So in a way, I have in my hand the death of a few hundred, probably 600-700 Jewish people. And so this is the history of this place, and this places some responsibility on us. Of course, I was born after the war. We are personally not responsible for what happened then, but we are responsible for what is happening today. And we know that there is increasing anti-Semitism, not only in Germany, but in Germany too. I think in Germany it's more painful, at least for us, it's more painful than in other nations. And so we have a political responsibility to strengthen the Jewish community here in Germany, because you can say if there are all Jews disappear or immigrate or make Aliyah to Israel, then suddenly Germany will be Judenfrei again, and that would be victory for Hitler. And so it's very important that there is a strong Jewish community here in Germany. And I personally, on the one hand, I'm happy that they go to Israel, the young ones, but on the other side, I'm sad if I hear that young Jewish fathers or mothers tell me we don't want that our children have to go to school under police protection. We want them to go to school in a free way, to enjoy school, to play, and so on. And so this is one of the not so nice or negative developments in Germany at the moment, that there is increasing anti-Semitism. But on the other hand, there is a strong Jewish community, there is a state of Israel, and there are a few 100,000 dedicated Christians who are supporting Israel in many, many aspects. So I'm very thankful for the group that came here from Holocaust, staying now here for a few minutes or 1 or 2 hours in our office. That's practical reconciliation. So thank you very much for being interested in all this and coming here. Shalom. Okay, so there is a small commemoration site here. This is Messberg number 1 in Hamburg. I repeat, Messberg number 1 in Hamburg. And you are, of course, welcome to look at our small commemoration place.
Yeah, just walk, yeah. I'm coming, yeah.